5 o'clock on Monday, February 13th. And this is the Finance and Administration Committee meeting. And I'm going to call this meeting in order. Any pecuniary interest?
None known.
I don't know it. Okay, thank you. We do have some delegations that we'll be introducing shortly. And we'll start new business. And this is the 2023 grant request presentation. And the first group to go tonight is Pathways Health Center for Children. We've got 10 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Tim Baker. I'm Pathways Health Center for Children. I do community and corporate relationships and fundraising for Pathways. And with me, I have Paige Robinson, who's a recreational therapist for the I Can Bike program. Is one of her responsibilities, and she can, if there are questions about that program specifically, she can answer. So, I've got few slides, several slides, and the 2-minute, little 2-minute video piece. So if you want to go ahead, Jim, on the. Last on and off, on and off. So Pathways serves children with physical, communication, and developmental needs, and their families throughout all of Sarnia-Lambton. Go ahead. There's a whole list of the services that Pathways provides. I'm not proposing to read down the entire list. You're probably familiar with many of them, but all of them have detailed descriptions on our website about the programs. Go ahead. So we serve all of Lambton County, and that's a breakdown of roughly the percentages of the clients by geography, and it does include all three First Nations, Domjon, Walpole Island, and Chippewas, Kettle, and Stony Point as well. The really interesting stats on this slide. We had 3,754 individual clients seen in our fiscal year last year. We see, for one reason or another, 28% of all children in Sarnia-Lambton between the ages of 6 and 11, and 20% of all children between birth and 5 years of age come to visit Pathways. The 40,443 individual visits to Pathways therapists last year translates to approximately 800 a week. I'm using a 50 week if anybody's checking my math, because we closed for a couple of weeks over Christmas. Go ahead. So we're funded through the ministry, MCCSS, Ministry of Children and Community Social Services is the bulk of our funding. We get a significant amount of funding from Lambton County and others, and then the piece that's labeled community fee supported services. Those are fee for service, like the pool and the daycare, as well as the community grants and funding that we receive from ministry and private citizens, small business, wherever those might come from. And that piece is about $452,000 last year that we received from industry unions and the community at large. Our operating, that's the 84% that goes to salaries, benefits, employees. Essentially, that's the therapists and the program delivery. We don't produce any goods. Of course, we don't manufacture anything to sell. So the fact that the bulk of those funds go to service delivery. Our operating budget is about $9.9 million for the fiscal year that ended March 2022. biggest fundraiser of the year is our Secret Santa event, which Point Edward has supported for many years. And last year we raised over $40,000 with that event. The children come and they shop for pre-wrapped gifts with their parents. We have staff and volunteers that serve as shopping elves and guide them through the shop. And it's been going on for at least 15 years now. We're seeing kids that used to come in and shop are now coming in with their kids to shop. So I guess it's been going on for a while. Go ahead, Tim. The pool is not supported by any ministry funding, so that the pool operating dollars are all come from the fee for service, which does not cover the operating costs of the pool, and then community donations. It's just something that the ministry doesn't do. One of the programs that we offer every 2 or 3 years, as sort of as demand is there, is called the I Can Bike program, and it is to teach children with various disabilities and developmental problems to ride a bicycle. And there's a special group that comes in from the U.S. and they bring the equipment, the bicycles. It's a week-long course, and we're requesting or booked, I guess, at this point to run it at the Point Edward Arena this year from July 16th to 21. And there's a short, I guess you can go to the last, there's a short video, but we can go to the last slide. This is, we have a new electronic road sign on Murphy Road that was funded by the Unifor, local 914. And that was one of the slides that we displayed
Nice.
in the rotation for about a month after the Secret Santa. We put out each of our sponsors got a separate slide, and we just rotated them through, and they ran for several hours a day for a number of weeks. So thank you very much for your contribution there. And we also noted it on event advertising and the website and those kinds of things. But this new sponsor board is something that we're trying to use to catch people's attention as they drive by. If you would go to the video, it's just questions?
Appreciate it.
for us? Or-
I have a question. When we were talking about the Santa program, the shopping program, you said you raised
Yes.
$40,000.
Yes.
We donated $2,000 to
yeah.
that program. Were there other donations?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was thinking you didn't just do that on $2,000.
No,
Yeah.
there were a number of corporate and
Okay.
commercial donors
Okay.
and some union donors. Pembina was the lead donor. But there are several, and I think it's a little $14,000 or $15,000 in corporate donations in total.
Okay, thank you. No, that was a good effort to share that.
I just want to make a comment on the I Can't Bike program. I watched that video earlier myself. And, it's very impressive. And reading the documentation on it and all that, what the program offers to these children, you know, the way it steps them up. So by the end of the course, they're out riding their bike. You know, that's pretty impressive because, you know, anybody who's tried to teach a child to ride a bike, it's difficult,
Yeah.
as, you know, so I'm very impressed with you bringing that program in
Thank you.
to the village. I know we tried in 2020, it didn't work, but
And 21 as well.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're
At
excited.
that point, notwithstanding the challenges of being in close contact with COVID, but the training team comes from the US and the border was closed too. So
Yes.
that was,
So I'm excited to see us have this in our facility this summer. Thank you again for coming.
good. Thank you.
We're not making decisions.
Yeah, we're not making any decisions tonight on this. This is going to go to our budget meeting on March 23rd.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
so
But we appreciate your.
we appreciate
Oh, thank you for
Giving
the
us
the
opportunity.
information. That way we know exactly what the program is. Thank you.
Yeah.
You got off easy, Paige.
Yeah, I did.
Moral support. Paige.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next up will be the Ridgeview School Parent Council, make their presentation on their 2023 funding request.
Yeah, so Jim, were you gonna share the PowerPoint? by
Yep.
chance? Okay.
If you want. you
Yeah,
can
maybe,
come in and
well,
sit at the
we'll go
table
there.
here.
Yeah, I'll go there. Yeah, we can just go through that way we'll bring our
You
next.
guys can go there, I'll just be there to answer questions or for support, so.
Because then when you sit there, Liz, then you're on camera
Oh, great. Can't wait.
rather than staying.
I'll make most of it close to there. I think we haven't shared the PowerPoint with the whole school, but I think we shared it with, we for sure shared it with all of parent council. And I think Jim said that village council's seen the PowerPoint.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll just kind of buzz through.
Mhm.
So if we're live streaming, can the people who are watching the meeting, they can see it as well?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Oh,
Oh,
just getting there.
Okay,
Well, just a word too, you've got 10 minutes. I'm sure you can
I'll just squeeze it in.
let
Yeah.
you know.
we're good with that. We had a song planned, but we'll cut that out.
I'll have no dance.
Oh yeah, just in keeping with our mission and our vision is just to be fostering success for every student every day. And I think historically, Parent Council has tried really hard to partner with the school to bring sort of that extra community support that sometimes is missing from a school environment. And historically, that's been very successful.
Pride ourselves on that, at least here in Port Edward, to have a school that we feel we're wholly involved in as a community.
So yeah, in the last year, we have been busy. I know most of you were at the barbecue, so you saw the new Gegaball pit, which is used every single day. If you drive by Bridgeview, that's where you see the kids. You see them in the Gegaball pit or the accessible outdoor learning commons, which is by far the biggest project that we've ever undertaken and we are incredibly proud of. So that was a huge undertaking and we were thrilled to see that come to fruition. It was a long time in the works, but
Again, pandemic did not make it easy, but
yeah, supply and
it
demand.
came together
Yeah,
finally.
yeah, and we're very proud of that. And the FDK, the full-time kindergarten yard, got some significant improvements as well. They got some new mud kitchens and a sandbox, and there's like a bike track that the kids can ride their bikes on. So that was also part of the improvements.
So next, that's a photo of the outdoor learning commons, which at the moment, I think we're still waiting on a KSB for shade to go over part of it too, which we completed. And it's providing a safe, fun, accessible space. That was a big thing, to have an accessible ramp for it, to have all of our Acadia, all of our Bridgeview students access it.
Yeah, and so since COVID, we've been able to return to more semblance of normal, which has been wonderful, having more face-to-face opportunities for assemblies. The Meet the Teacher barbecue, we brought that back this year, which was fabulous. I think everybody was there.
We
Thank
thank
you
you
for
guys for
coming.
coming.
Yeah, and it was really, it felt great to get back to that. It had been a long time coming. We sponsored the school-wide bowling trip again, and that was a big undertaking. Students still say that's one of their favorite days of the year, just to do something as a whole school. And this year, we're pretty excited about graduation being fully back to normal. I think last year was pretty much back to normal,
Yeah.
but this year we're excited to not have any restrictions.
Oh, yeah, there we are.
Oh, yeah, there you are. Proof that you were there. Financially, we remain in very good shape as far as the outdoor learning commons project absorbing all of the money that we had sort of been hanging on to in anticipation of spending it on a large project. I'm not sure if the board has cashed that check yet, but
They have not yet.
I'm kind of hoping they forget about it and then can add to it. I'm guessing they won't.
Is there a time limit?
I know. Yeah, because they're like a statute of limitations.
Yeah.
Do it before the school year
I'm sure they
ends.
will, yeah. They'll get us.
Um,
We also invested in a light tower for the medically fragile room. And so there was a bubble tower, two of them, and it came to $3,000. So that was another significant expenditure that we felt really good about, because that room is used every single day, and the students with their sensory needs, the light towers that bubbled, there was leaks and they tried to repair them, and over time they just, sort of gave up. So there's 2 brand new light towers.
Actually, sorry, 3, 2 of which the school helped to fund, or the board helped to fund, and then 1 of which the council did. Yeah, sorry.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
$3,000.
there's- yeah.
Mindfulness and dance last year, we spent $2,160 on it, which sounds like a lot of money, but it's a huge investment in coping strategies and regulation for our youth around learning more appropriate and healthy coping strategies. So there was a certified instructor that came in and taught our students mindfulness and a dance curriculum. And then at the end, there was a cute little dance recital kind of thing for the whole school, and like huge turnout. Parents were thrilled to see it. And the students are really proud of that accomplishment. It always feels really good to watch them, present something that they worked really hard on for several weeks. So our plan is to do that again this year. But yeah, bowling trip, that was great success. And graduation we anticipate graduation costs being more this year with
We
everything
almost
having gone up.
anticipate most costs to be
Yeah.
higher.
We are struggling with finding that even like busing and, for school trips and costs of field trips, everything's just gone up like everything else. But finding that, trying to do the same thing with the, trying to stay on budget, it's been a little bit challenging. Yeah, so there's our plans for the coming year, which you've already kind of touched on. The only thing that I will mention that we haven't talked about is,
Library improvement.
yeah, we've been really hoping that to dedicate some funds and some energy and breathe some new life into our school learning commons.
So we're extending an invitation for the council to meet us at the library at some point in the next couple of weeks, whenever is appropriate, just to go over, visually see. We are lacking on, it's not as inviting as a space, as a common space. That's what we refer to it now, and actually is being the commons learning space. Some colors, we have really old books that are not well archived or well.
And not
Looked
enough
after.
books. Like
And yeah,
it's
it's
really,
old.
when I'm in and out of a lot of schools around the county, and our library looks very sad compared to others. It just is, we've tried over the years, and we bought some furniture from Manly's, which was fabulous. And unfortunately, it doesn't even stand out because it's uninviting. And we'd love for you to see the space and see what we're talking about. We're excited. We just did a fundraiser, pizza kit fundraiser to raise some money specifically for that. So we for sure want to participate in that, but we definitely have some ideas. And there's a teacher that's dedicated to, what's her title, Ms. Pirro?
She's a resource, but also does learning commons and guiding. So
So
she's got
she
a little
has-
bit of everything, but,
She has some ideas.
and she put
so-
together a bit of a presentation to share with
Oh.
council as they come up. So
Yeah, so anytime before your actual budget meeting, we would love to have you over for a little visit. That was kind of those are the issues that
So
we're
next
worried
slide,
about.
and next slide. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what do we envision for the library at least a big mural? It is a big room, the biggest, I think, in the school. A big mural integrating diversity and inclusion and some indigenous culture to bring light to the space. An increased inventory. A lot of our teachers tend to just have books in their own classrooms. So, but it's always nice for elementary students to go and check out a book out of the library. So that's still something we'd like to work on, and some sensory and interactive spaces, small corners, small stations.
Especially with our population at Bridgeview with inclusivity and some of the diverse needs, I think that sensory piece is critical.
So
So what we're asking for, so we've typically asked for 10,000 each year, and this year we're asking for 15, keeping in mind that 5,000 of that would be dedicated specifically to the Learning Commons improvements. However, we also understand that there's lots of needs, and I'm sure the list is long, but that's our goal. And yeah, just having said all of that, and I've said it, I think year after year, but our partnership with the village really is unique, and I'm not sure every other school understands it even. Like Mo teaches in the.
yeah, I've not seen a lot of schools working that way with their village council.
Yeah, so we feel very, very fortunate to be supported by the village, and we understand that is unique and we value that.
I think it raises generation after generation that belong, that have that big sense of belonging to Point Edward and this corner of Ontario. And that's thanks to your support too, so.
Anything to add?
I don't think so. No, that was, yeah, I think we covered all of it.
Any questions? Or comments?
You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Um, So I have the pizza fundraiser.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry, I missed the message yesterday, but appreciate getting my pizzas delivered.
We just ate ours.
Yeah. So you had a big order, so that's all towards the library project.
Yeah, we estimate, I don't have the final numbers yet
Yeah.
because Dressy's has,
Something.
I think it's almost $1,500 that we
Yeah.
raised for
That's
it, which is great. We're thrilled with
Yeah.
that.
Because we make a portion from every sale.
Yeah.
So
Having said that, we've experienced some challenges since COVID with fundraising, I would say, and also there's a bit of a barrier with school cash online. It's the way the board does business now, so you can't use cash or checks. And we are finding as parent council that fundraising is exponentially more challenging. Like our poinsettia sales, for instance, like we used to raise hundreds of dollars, but having people have to go to a link or having people have to order and have somebody pay ahead, it's just created some.
it's like people have to do the work themselves and no one wants to do the work
Yeah.
themselves.
So our fundraising efforts, if we compared last year to the year before, have historically been declining, and not for lack of effort, it's more challenging.
Yeah, so I have a comment about that, but the other comment was, when you mentioned about the libraries, I just wanted to make a point that some of the libraries in Lambton County are they're run by Lambton County Library. And that's why they
Some of the
probably,
libraries in schools.
yes,
Yes.
I
am aware.
didn't know that myself until last week, and I was speaking with the manager, and he told me that they have involvement in, I think it's more of the rural ones, I can't tell you which ones, but more rural. They actually, Lambton County Library runs the school library. So that was news to me when they, the other thing I wanted to talk about or request is, in the past, we've had, or I've heard of issues with the grant that has been given by the village where it's not maybe, properly, but treat it as a grant from the village for these specific purposes and to be managed by the student council, the village, parent council, not the school board.
Right.
So if it's my opinion, if we're giving money, then I want to make sure that that money is earmarked to be managed by our parents, our family people in the village and not the school board.
Right, and I think there has been times in the past where there's been suggestions made around a smart board or something.
Right.
And parent council has said those budgetary items are typically covered by the board, right? So I think that's an
Mhm.
important footnote around anything that is a board expenditure budget item should remain that way. And as everybody knows, this is my final school year with Bridgeview, so going forward, it'll be, I'm passing the torch, but I really feel strongly that over the years, that collaboration and autonomy that we had was great. And I feel like COVID definitely threw a wrench in that, but we struggled to regain some of that momentum. And I think some of it comes with collaboration and engagement. And I think that that's a really important goal going forward.
So we have a list, we know what it is that the council wants, and then we are supporting those ideas. So I don't want that to get diluted, or I don't want someone outside of that group come in and try and have control on the money or how it's being spent.
And I think going forward, that parent council will be happy to report
I
back.
think everybody's aware of.
Yes, and I appreciate that, Simon, and I think that going forward, explaining what we spent the money on and staying true to what our plan was is important.
I appreciate that. I appreciate all the hard work. Like, we're so fortunate to have that. The other question I had too, just speaking of the library, back in my day, they used to do the walk to the public library. To the school, do they still do those excursions to the
I haven't
library?
heard of one in a long time.
Wow, that used to be a regular event.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
And I have been encouraging the teachers to do that
Yeah,
and get out and visit the library. So I know, again, some of the COVID restrictions and things, kind of had maybe
Sure.
shifted what people were doing and get it kind of changed what their practices were. But I've been really encouraging those visits to all the local places in
When,
the village, like the library and
yeah.
the fire hall and,
Well,
you
what I
know,
like
all of
about
those
that is
places.
it helps our library stay viable
Well,
as well.
yeah, when I
It's a
when I
perfect-
was a student at Bridgeview, it was something we looked forward to as an activity, and it was a nice walk. And then you get the experience of having your library card, using the facility and knowing what we have. And then they can continue on the weekends or whatever's going on at the library to be involved.
And I think for some students, that might be the first time they would ever be at that library and then discover it,
Yeah.
right? Like, I do think it would be a really
And it
nice.
is a great little library we have.
Mhm.
Yeah. They track usage and everything, so we want to make sure we keep our usage up.
I'll try to continue to advocate for
Great idea.
teachers to go there and, now that the nicer weather is
Yeah.
coming, to get some visits in there in the spring.
Yeah, just curious, how many students in the school now?
Just shy of 140. I think it's 137, 138.
Which is higher than it, like, if that's an increase, isn't it, from a couple years ago, weren't we down?
I think, yeah, we were
We're
down
going in the
around
right direction.
125, we've kind of, held steady there at that 130, 140 mark. in the last few years.
And just around the graduation of grade 8 class, how many?
32, is that right? Or
Um,
30? It's big.
That's
It's a
big. That's
it's
bigger
the
than last
biggest-
year.
It's the biggest grade 8 in the last.
No,
few
there's not
years.
32.
Oh, that's with the
That-
grade 7s too.
Yeah, that seems amazing.
That's
No,
not right.
so
There's
with
32 kids in Jake's
the,
class, but they're not all
with
grade.
just the grade 8, I believe it's 15.
Okay.
Yeah, that's more.
Just
Even
an
with every
idea.
year.
Just so I
Pretty
can
hard to have a
understand.
dance.
Yeah.
Or the last year.
It was about that number
Yeah,
last
it's
year.
pretty
wasn't it?
small.
I was there. It was about- seemed like that many.
That's going back to the days when I went to school here, like we had 4 girls in the class. and-
Pretty hard to have a dance.
And 11 boys or something, right? We got like 15 in the entire class back in the day with the bookmobile.
Oh,
We had the
yeah.
bookmobile back then that would bring the library to us. And that was a big event. Because you
Bookmobile
had
was
to
very cool.
upload and unload. It's fun. And it was a great
I
experience.
wasn't, I didn't have a bookmobile in my day. We walked over there.
Yeah, well, we couldn't. We were further down the road.
Um,
Just a question. Are there any other groups you approach for funding?
No,
No.
this particular school year, Ariana Noctor, one of our parent council reps, applied for a community creative grant, a creative community grant, and it was successful. And so we're hoping to dedicate the money from that grant. What we proposed was to use that money for the mindfulness and dance to free up some of that money to also help with the learning commons is the goal. So she was successful in getting that grant. So that's and in other years, we've had $1,000 parent reaching out grant, but we weren't able to use it last year by the deadline because there was some chaos and confusion around when it had to be used by. So we had to get that, which is heartbreaking.
Yeah, I forgot about that London County grant. I read about that, so that was good.
Well, that's good that you're looking outside.
Oh, yeah.
'cause there's-
Oh, we try.
You know,
always
the kind of,
looking,
you
yeah.
know, as the county has money available, you just gotta
Yes,
make
and that
the
was,
applications and that,
you
that's
know,
great.
kind of, because we understand that there's growing need everywhere, so we know we can't keep going to the same well all the time. So,
That's all I had.
thank you very
Anyone
much
else?
for your time.
Thank you very much
Thank you for
for
your
coming
time.
and telling us your story today.
March 23rd is our budget meeting.
But there's a dance. There's a
Oh,
dance.
you go ahead.
Thanks very
Thank
much.
you.
Have a good night, Jared.
Yeah, good luck. See you again.
See you later.
Yeah.
See you.
Okay, next up is Blue Coast Primary Care.
This is a quiet group tonight.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Where do you want me to sit?
Right where
You're
the next
invited
one's
in the
at.
bar,
Okay,
this bar.
this is very quiet.
This is not a council, so it's. pretty peaceful.
It's not full council, it's just finance committee.
Oh,
That's why it's down.
okay. Understood.
That's why I'm in the cheap seats.
Gotcha. Well, then I'll just, maybe I don't even need my slides. Do I, do you think, Jim?
We're live,
Yeah.
we're live streaming, so they probably want to see what
Let's
you're
do
talking
it.
about.
Okay.
More information better.
Okay, we're good now.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, well, good evening. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak tonight. For those of you who don't know, my name is Carly Cox, and I'm the recruitment coordinator for Blue Coast Primary Care Recruitment and Retention. So I was invited here tonight to share a high-level overview of our recruitment efforts, what the future of healthcare looks like in Lambton County, specifically Point Edward, and the economic impact that our work offers. So I would like to request what we do request annually, which is $1 per person in each municipality for the 2023 operating year, with the hope of consideration this year for a 3-year funding commitment. I will start by saying we were just awarded a funding commitment from the city of Sarnia for the next council term. So we're very pleased to be able to just plan for the future with more sustainability and knowing that we can operate at our best capacity for the next 4 years. So that is why we are asking every municipality moving forward to match that grant. So a little bit about the history of Blue Coast Primary Care. We were created back in 2001 and were formerly known as the Physician Recruitment Task Force of Sarnia-Lambton. And since 2001, we've brought 43 family physicians to Lambton County. We were created by the Mayor of Sarnia, Sarnia-Lambton Chamber of Commerce, Blue Water Health, and local physicians to address the severe shortage that we were experiencing at that time. We have since kind of come full circle and we're back into that crisis mode up until our very successful year that we had back in 2022. So I'm excited to share all of that with you. Blue Coast operates with 1 full-time employee, and then we have a 10-member volunteer board of directors. So our board's made up of physicians, funders, community leaders, and the Sarnia Lambton Ontario Health Team and Ontario Health Force. So as a funder, we do welcome each of our funders a seat at our board. So if a representative from the community or from council did want to sit on our board, we would gladly welcome them as a voting member. So as I said, this past year, we had a very successful year recruiting 5 new family physicians. So 4 of them will be starting this year in 2023. And that brings my total since I've started in 2013 to 23 family physicians I've brought in. So I'm very proud of that number.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And 28 of the 43 have been brought to Sarnia specifically. So we're going to assume, I guess, moving forward that most of the Point Edward residents are going to Sarnia as it's the closest neighboring municipality. So when you think 5 new family physicians, that's 5 new physicians that are taking over for 5 retiring physicians. So these are physicians that have served our community for 30 plus years. We wanted them to be able to walk away knowing their patients are well taken care of, and that they could walk away with their heads held high, not having to, send a letter saying, I'm retiring, I couldn't find a replacement, you're on your own. So our physicians are very proud to work with us, and we're very proud to be able to offer them a successor to that practice. But 5 new family physicians, that's 11,160 patients that have been able to maintain their primary health care in Lambton County. So that's a very strong number. Our work is certainly impactful on our community and our entire healthcare system. So when you look at the current physician profile, since we have done very well, we actually only have 1 physician in Sarnia that wants to retire in 2023. So we're in very great shape. The issue is we do still have a capacity gap where we still require about 10.2 physicians just in Sarnia and Point Edward to fill the unattached patients. One of our growing concerns is where are we putting these new physicians? So there's new ministry guidelines where a physician can't just come in and set up shop in an old house, right? You see a lot of the older, more seasoned physicians that have worked out of just an old house that they've converted into a clinic. They've kind of been siloed physicians. That is no longer allowed. So any new physician that we bring in must be in a shared medical clinic. This is creating some concerns for us as we don't have a lot of that in Lambton County. So it will be my responsibility to, write letters to the ministry explaining why we can't meet that need and, speaking to the unattached patients and that sort of thing. So we should be okay, but it's also not that desirable for a family physician coming in. They are trained in team-based care now. They want to work in that environment. So it's something that Blue Water Health is aware of, my group is aware of, and the rest of our stakeholders across Lambton County, that there is going to be a need for infrastructure and some sort of new medical clinic that can appeal to these new family physicians. Again, looking at our numbers, so these are the most up-to-date numbers that we have. These were provided from the Health Analytics branch from Ontario Health. And there's 565 residents of Point Edward that don't currently have a family physician. So that's a pretty big number. I was shocked at the number myself, being a Point Edward resident. So what can we do about this, right? Like, are these people just not wanting a family physician? Is there a mobility barrier? Like, what is the barrier? So I would like to work with council this year to figure out where that issue is. So, I mean, I would invite anybody that doesn't have a family physician, send me an email, drop a note in my mailbox, whatever it may be. Like, I'm committed to finding these 565 Quinn Edwards residents in a position. And I did just I threw in the city of Sarnia numbers as well, because again, it speaks to that 10.2 physicians that are still required. So when we look at just the city of Sarnia, there's 15,327 residents that don't have a family doctor. So that's 20% of the population, which means we then need 10.2 physicians just to fill that capacity. So our work, although we had a very successful year, our work is still nowhere close to being done. So thank you very much. I do want to leave you with a final thought though, and that is that our work is part of the infrastructure that promotes the overall economic well-being of Lambton County and its citizens, and physician recruitment is critical. So as soon as we stop recruiting, we're behind the game. So thank you very much again, and again for your continued support of our organization.
Thank you, Carly. Questions?
I just want to congratulate you on what you've done. I'm on the board of Blue Water Health, and our meeting last week, Dr. Habitat was talking about the efforts that they've done at Blue Water Health. I mean, it's different because they're bringing them into the hospital, but the successes that they've had and the needs that they still have. And he wanted to remind everyone that at the same time we're recruiting, so is every other community. Every other community has the same needs. So it's a difficult task because you're up against everybody. So you have to consider what when you're bringing them to your community, what can you offer them? And you know this already, but, and what their like helping them with their families and employment for their spouses, it's a whole program, right? So it takes a lot to get people to come. They've had some successes at Blue Water Health as well in their recruiting. One other thing, when you talked about the people that don't have a doctor, so a recent example is maybe a year ago, you sent us a note that said Dr. Van Ass had relocated to Point Edward and was offering anybody who needed a doctor. Well, we put that information out. And then recently I was contacted by someone who doesn't have a doctor, and I said, well, we put this note out a year ago. Did you contact that person? Oh, no, maybe I didn't see it. So I don't know if he's still filled up, but sometimes people don't look for a doctor until they absolutely need one. So I don't know how many he took on, but he had said he'd take on anybody.
So Dr. Vanass unfortunately is on a leave.
Oh,
He had to go back to South Africa due to a very serious family emergency. So he will be back.
okay.
It's just the time frame we're unsure of at this point. So at this point, he is not taking any.
Okay. He's on Light Street. In the DMR, yeah. Okay. And I did have this experience myself, and I know you and I talked about this, and you helped me where I didn't have a doctor through no fault of my own, and I went through the government through the program, and I got called once and never called again. They got all my information, and I never heard from them again for this matching program.
Or
So
healthcare. Correct.
I don't know what they do with it, but I didn't ever get anywhere with that.
Yeah, like I said, email to me and note my mailbox.
No, you helped me, and I appreciate it.
My dad didn't have a doctor until 3 days ago. When he finally said, Carly, I need a doctor, and I just,
Do you have any?
I was able to find him one.
Oh, wow.
But like you say, people don't look for one until
You're in
they
a dire
need one.
situation.
And that's too late
Yeah.
sometimes, right? Especially with the crisis that we have in primary care. Like you gotta get a physician early because you might be on a wait list.
Right. Those are my questions.
My question is, I know Sarnia and Point Edward were two municipalities that support the group. Has that list grown? Any other municipalities on board with us? It has, that's
Yes.
fantastic,
Oh,
Yes, Lambton Shores
perfect.
I didn't know that.
has jumped on board, and they unfortunately are a perfect example of not knowing what they needed until they desperately needed it. So they have lost 3 positions, all due to retirement. And we weren't recruiting for them because we unfortunately had to go to a more of a pay-to-play model.
Yes.
Because I have brought 5 physicians out to Lifton Shores and they've never paid. So we had to step away from them, and now they're down 3 physicians. So working very, very closely with them right now. They're a fantastic bunch. And yes, they have committed to the dollar purpose.
Oh, that's great. Excellent.
That's great news. Do you also recruit nurse practitioners? Or just?
Unofficially, yes. Yes,
It's not under your,
it's not
Mandate?
under my mandate, no, but I have certainly connected a number of different nurse practitioners to our family physicians because it supports the work that our family physicians do. So we've placed ads, I think the name of Blue Coast or Physician Recruitment Task Force is out there now, so I'm just that initial contact. And I'm happy to be.
just wondered, because they're such an important part to our medical care. I have no other questions. Thank you for coming and enlightening us on the good work you've done.
Thank
in-
you so
In your
much.
organization. For these positions. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our budget day is March 23rd. So that's when we make all our final decisions.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you so
care.
much. Take care.
Got a couple minutes to kill here while we wait for the point line. Are we still live, Jeff?
Yes,
Yep.
we are.
See the point liner, the representatives to come?
Just waiting for our next group.
The nice little slide.
Hello again. Hello. You got reinforcements.
The folks that are the most interested, do you want us to all come or join something? Or do you think-
If you come into the bar, please, and then you can be seen.
Okay.
Wait, you're on camera.
Now, if you can pull a chair over.
I'm just moral support.
Okay,
Thank you.
make sure. No, we can't see Lindsay.
That's okay. I don't need to be
We'll
seen
be able to
there.
hear her.
Oh, there, when you move your face in, if you're
There
seeing.
you go.
Get nice and close, Liz.
There we go. There we go. There.
Me too, my black crop.
Show off that logo.
That's right. I almost wore mine too. That would have been awesome. So yeah, we won't go through every slide.
Jim's just bringing the presentation.
Yeah.
Your last group.
Yes.
Yes.
So we have an hour.
Yes.
You know.
You have to be. Same rules apply.
Right, right. I need to go back to work.
Some technical difficulties.
Comes up when I open it, it takes it over to the other screen and I try to share it, and it won't work properly.
Gotcha.
So you can see it, but nobody from the public can see it right now.
Doesn't matter to me, I just didn't know if
You-
anybody might want to see it.
Okay.
If it does want to see it, they can contact us.
This should be in the minute, or on the council
agenda.
website with the agenda.
Okay,
There you go.
yeah, I think that works.
Okay.
I think that's what the public's seeing now.
Oh, you can see
Yeah,
it. Okay.
Greg's got it out.
Good stuff.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So thanks for having us for a little chat about Pima. I know that all of you are very familiar with what we do. Every year there's something a little bit different. Every year there's a curveball and we manage to rally. As you know, the most recent large project that we undertook was the rebrand. And that's for sure part of the theme of our presentation this year was just basically weathering that and really coming out, we think, on the right side of it, coming out on top. We love our new logo and we really love the support that we had from the community, the engagement and the participation in selecting our logo. So we appreciate, and we know that everybody here at the village office, they participated as well. So thanks for that. The other thing we're really excited about is the partnership that we forged with the Lambton College Sports and Recreation Management Program. So through COVID, our little volunteer base has dwindled to 6, which is not ideal. We've advertised countless times. We've tried to lobby people to join us, but I think people are tunneled in a bit. And so 10 is our ideal number of board members, and that's where we would like to be. However, 6 hardworking board members can get a lot done. So an active 6 sometimes is as good as a 10 that maybe isn't. So what we thought we would do, sort of rounding out some of those gaps was we were leveraging our partnership with Lambton College. So we had their sports and recreation students joined us last summer to help run soccer. So they learned while they helped us, which was fabulous. We would have probably not been able to put soccer on the field as quickly as we did last year. And then more recently, they're organizing a jamboree for us, which is super exciting. The U7 jamboree, and the students, it's their capstone project. So it's their learning culminating activity. And they are so enthusiastic and so excited, and they have such big plans. We are very lucky to have their help. So that's been a really nice initiative this year for us. It feels really supportive. After kind of grinding through COVID, it's been really nice to have some young, enthusiastic energy. So that's no comment on the rest of us. We're doing our best, but it's fun to hear their creative ideas and like the sky's the limit, and they're just so excited. So Special Olympics, we continue to partner with Special Olympics for soccer. We let them use our equipment, and they have a certain night of the week, and I contact them every year to see what we can do to help them. And Janie Puck is our new sort of our association with Janie Puck. And really, we don't do anything financially for Janie Puck. We mostly just promote the program and really believe that they're doing some fantastic work, inspiring young women who might never try the sport, and hopefully maybe they'll graduate and come play hockey sometime. So just building sustainability. Fundraising. So we continue to have bingos. That's a large revenue source for us is bingos and the meat raffles, which we do in the summertime. And then we help out the Optimists during the winter just to help. They don't have as many volunteers as they need, so we support their efforts. And we do one every 3 weeks, and it's great. It helps them out, helps us out. And we got a little bit more hardcore about making our parents participate more, because there's only the 6 of us, and we were burning the candle at both ends. So we found a way to engage our parents in helping more, which has been helpful. And so meat draws, bingos, the pizza kit fundraiser, those are our major fundraisers. And they're all solid. We don't see any changes coming to that end. I think that we would continue to do all 3 of those things ongoing, which is hugely helpful. That helps us afford tournaments and helps us afford the year-end banquet, all of those extras, right? By the time a player pays their registration fees, basically they're paying for their ice time and the referees, like the bare bones, the insurance. Anything over and above that is all fundraised dollars and the village support. Yeah, so the year-end banquet. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Liz, around just what it means to the kids? And
So we split it up into two. So we have a junior and a senior one. We did that because there's so many kids and parents, just so that more people can go. For the kids, we supply pizza, like Dressies does pizza, and then Steph comes in and does Caesar salad and stuff like that, some desserts. And we do year-end awards. We do a whole bunch of different ones. Some that, well, you see the trophy case at the arena. So all of those go out, and when they get one of those, kids also get a keeper. And then we do a year-end gift for the kids, which this year it's gonna be super exciting because it'll be something with the new logo. So now every kid will have something with the new logo, because right now kids, some of them don't, right? A lot of them do, but some don't. So it'll be really nice to get something to those kids. I don't know what it'll be this year because we haven't even got there yet, but it'll be exciting to see that everybody gets a new logo. And then the parents and siblings pay to come, but like we don't charge. It's like $10 or something like that for dinner, which for just the adults. And it's a lot of fun. We do good awards, and then after we have the community dance, we invite anyone to come back with our silent auction, where we get lots of local businesses to donate, and then we do that, and it's a fun night.
Yeah, it's become such a tradition, and during COVID when we couldn't gather to do it, but people were devastated, and so we pivoted and we did the drive-through parade, which was
It worked
fabulous.
awesome.
But we were so happy to be able to return to the banquet last year. It really is sort of a special event. I've talked to other centers around the league, and some do something similar, but I don't know that any of them go to that extent as far as trying to gather and have everybody there. Rebranding. So we, as you know, it took a long time to successfully achieve our rebranding, but we are there. We have done it. Everything from our Center Ice logo to our posters, to our swag, to our spiritware, to our pucks, to our jerseys. We have completely embraced the rebrand. So that's what we looked like before. Then we moved to a transitional jersey, which has now become our practice jersey, so that we don't have to use the old logo for practice jerseys. And now we are fully in our new logo, which is pretty exciting. And the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. We're proud of that, and we couldn't have done it without village support. Last year, the village gave us $20,000, and we spent that and half again. But we knew that was going to happen, and we had planned for that and saved for that. So we were very proud of the fact that rebranding did not cripple us financially. We weathered that storm, I would say, admirably. We've had a lot of people in other communities ask us how we did it, because they're like, oh, that would have folded us. And I'm like, thank God, thank God that didn't, because that would be a travesty. So that's just a picture of some of our young kids that enjoy the new logo, our new pucks, the new press box vinyl, the Center Ice logo, which I know you guys helped us with that. We split on that, and it's beautiful. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's just some of the spiritware. And this is the reason we work hard. We're trying to build, with Pima, I think Steph and Lindsay, you guys can chime in, but it's not just about hockey. Like, hockey is an aspect of Pima, and of course it's an important aspect, but we focus strongly on building good little humans. And we talk about inclusivity, and we talk about diversity and respect and anti-bullying, and we talk about, we do the canned food drive at Christmas. We do what we can to try and influence them so that the rink is a safe place. They feel at home there. And I feel like that is what sets us apart from other organizations. And I wouldn't want to see that change ever. I hope it always stays that way.
And I feel like they really respect our arena. Like, I'll go to Silver Stick weekends, working all weekend, and walking out and seeing the disaster that all of the kids and parents left. I was horrified. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if my kid ever did that at an arena, I'm like, that is not like, so I find that we really force it on our kids to respect our arena. Our arena is like, it's my kids' first home. I don't even call it their second home, because we spend more time there than we do at home.
So just a couple of the initiatives that we feel are important. Face Off for Mental Health, you've all heard about that lots of times. We are committed to that initiative every year. And the conversations that start because of that initiative have been really powerful and impactful. And again, the partnership with the sports and rec students has been really exciting, and we can't wait to see where that can lead. We think it could end up being an annual partnership, and I even suggested another organization contact them. They're thrilled to have the engagement from the community as well. They came up with this logo, which is amazing. And that's the logo for the Jamboree. They've been promoting it on TikTok and all kinds of social media, and the spots are sold out. We have 20 teams, which is amazing. Yeah, it's going to be, the village is going to be overrun with little U7s and their families. That's just at Christmas time. Just a couple, there's a few testimonials. I won't read them. People can check them out later, but our parents, volunteering can be a thankless gig sometimes. And we are lucky because there are a few parents that have taken the time to actually come and say to us, like, your association and your organization makes a big difference in our lives, which is very gratifying. Yeah, and that's it for the slideshow. For the upcoming year, I see our goals as successfully completing the Jamboree, which is huge on our agenda, the year banquet, running soccer, continuing to fundraise aggressively, and continuing with sustainability and trying to recruit more volunteers. That's really kind of there's a lot of goals, but that's where I see our efforts being funneled.
I'm not sure if everyone knows when Liz was referring to the meat raffles and how they changed to help. It's teams have the responsibility. This week, it's your team. So rather than, keep recruiting volunteers, they put it on teams that you're responsible this week. You get your people lined up. That was an excellent.
Yeah, we came up with that at a meeting because we kept putting it off and saying we need help, and people, I think, would duck down and say, oh, yeah. So we tied it to tournament budget. We said, if your team comes and does your week, then you get your tournament paid for, which we normally do anyway, but it's a give and take, right? And we need that participation. And so it was really successful. We did that in the summertime because we had 14 weeks, and that's a lot of weeks to cover, right? So it was great, and I think that idea can continue on and maybe grow. We've talked about other organizations. Some of them do a volunteer check where you have to write a $200 volunteer check, and if you don't do it, it gets cashed. We would like to avoid doing that if possible. First of all, it's a bit of a headache to track and to manage. But second of all, it feels more adversarial. Like when people come out and work the meat raffles, they have a blast. So there's team building that happens too, right?
A lot of times when it's the team, they'll bring the team, like the kids will come and have like a table, and then that brings money in
for the restaurant.
for the restaurant, and it sells more tickets, and it's really good doing it that way.
So when I was involved with my son at SMA football, your team had things that they had to be responsible for in the clubhouse, the food every week, and each team, it rotated through teams, and it helps people have more involvement and makes it easier then to do that recruiting that you need.
And I do think people who do make it out, they come back, right?
Yeah,
They'll be like,
once
that
they get
wasn't
that
so bad.
experience,
Yeah.
it's a fun night.
It is fun. It's 2 hours, right? So,
What time does Jamboree start on the 19th?
ooh, bright and early, like
Early.
7 o'clock in the morning, because it's an
yeah,
all-day event.
Okay.
So it's very early, and it goes till, there's a rental, I think, at 6. So it goes from 7 a.m. till close to the
Okay.
rental, and we have the hall booked. So the kids will go over and eat lunch in the hall.
Okay.
Every player who registers with their team gets a T-shirt with the Battle Under the Bridge logo, a mini stick, and food. So it's really, they're getting a lot of bang for their buck, and it's an experience that they're getting, not just a game.
Yeah, no, that's great.
7:30 is the first game,
7:30.
and the last game starts at 4:20, give or take.
Yeah.
Right.
And the other thing I wanted to talk about, I just wanted to congratulate everyone on the rebranding. When I look back on the shop that we got when we first got the letter and said, this is what you have to do, this is what we're telling you you need to do, and oh my God. Like
It seemed like a big hill to climb at
It
the
did,
time,
it
but
did. It took, you know, and it took a lot of thinking and talking and working through, and it couldn't have worked out better. I mean, I don't know if every community had it. You know, I think about other places like Almaston that have gone through it, they all have. Like, when you look back, it had a good outcome.
it wasn't without definitely some
Right.
difficult
Right.
moments. And even amongst the six of us as board members, there was definitely varying opinions and, strong feelings and emotions. However, I really think collectively the community came together, which was the difference, right?
Yeah.
So that was great. I mean, having a guided, like focus group that we did
Yeah.
at the golf course, like that was hugely helpful for us to give us the direction that people needed, and also using the vehicle of doing surveys and asking people
Yeah.
for their input and saying like, what do you want? Because honestly, the six of us don't want to make a decision for the entire community beyond, like, we wanted their
But
input,
when you
so.
look back, like, you went through all these different steps and
Yeah.
different ideas and to get there, and I think that's why it was so successful. And I don't hear anybody now
It's been really.
that you hear
helpful.
about at the beginning, like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm an odd person, and
Right?
I guess there will always be some
Yeah.
of that, and I think, I
And
do
people are
think
happy with the new
I think so.
product.
we are, for
Yeah.
sure.
I looked at it, somebody was wearing the old logo today at the school pick up their kid, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it was just kind of like took me off guard because just wasn't, I'm like, oh, I do really like our new logo.
Yeah,
And I was one of the ones at the beginning was like, nope, we are not, we are,
we had to get your head around. it.
right? And
Takes
that's,
time.
but it was,
And I think too, like, for so long, we were so focused on, managing around COVID and the shutdowns and the startups and the
Yeah, just to
protocol.
throw that wrench in there.
Right,
Well, and
it's
so that
all
was
in.
like a distraction
Yeah.
the entire time. And so
Yeah.
once that sort of was off the table, we could completely focus on what we needed to accomplish.
It
And I
was
feel like
hard.
we hit the ground
Yeah.
running
Yeah.
as soon as we could.
it was hard. It was probably one of the hardest things that I've ever been involved in. Like it was saying it was a lot, it was big. Don't know that I ever want to do it again.
Oh, yeah, we're not doing it again. Or if we are, somebody else
Somebody else can do it.
Somebody
I don't
else
think
is
I'll
doing
make it.
You can't use nature anymore.
Yeah, no. Right? Yeah.
I mean, tapping out.
The Audubon Society will have this.
Yeah.
No more pandemics.
I
No.
appreciate, and Lynn,
One of
like you said,
lifetime's
that was really, really hard. You stayed with it.
Yep.
You stayed involved, and we're on the other side.
And we're on the other side and that's huge.
Yeah.
We worked hard though. The six of us really put in a lot of emails and meetings and
There were actual tears.
tears, arguments,
Yep.
not speaking to people for a couple of days. However, we're here.
None of us.
Yeah.
No, we're all good.
Thank you. Those are.
Thank you.
Was it yours?
Yeah.
Okay, I got a few.
Mhm.
Your soccer program's back up and running this year.
Yeah.
That's great. Right?
Second year.
Yeah, last year
Yes.
and this year again, right?
Yeah.
You partnered with the college.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
I know I'm the village representative on the Lambton County Regional Trails. We've got a partnership with the college as well, Sports and Rec. So that's, they're gonna do some social media stuff for, municipalities, which is gonna be fantastic. So that's a resource, and I'm glad you tapped into that. One other possible opportunity. When I was a student back in the day at Lambton College, I know in here you said something about audited statements.
Mhm.
I audited point of reminder as a student,
Mhm.
and it was a free service that the accounting program they offered. So I'm just thinking possibly if you can, like, I know, that was a number of years ago, but,
There might be an opportunity.
there may be an opportunity there because they were always looking for projects for us to work on. So that was my project for the year and I got it like early. So I was the first one in and done, right?
Right.
Like, no, it's just another possible opportunity of help, right?
Mhm. Yeah, we need to be
Right.
looking at the
Yeah.
free opportunities,
Yeah,
really.
oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's a learning opportunity as well. So it's a win-win.
Mhm.
So that's a possibility. Just your bingos. You have bingos.
Mhm.
How do you staff those?
We do honorarium, because we don't have the volunteer base. to do
Okay,
it.
I was just wondering.
Yeah, I don't think we probably couldn't sustain doing bingos if we didn't pay an honorarium. There's a little team of
Yeah.
retired ladies that do it and they
Yes.
love it. So that's how that works. And it works beautifully. Like,
Yeah.
it's the best thing going, so. And that's the way it's been as long as
I
I've been
used to
around.
do bagels
Yeah.
back years ago.
And now
I
that's
was on
weird,
the
like
ring.
now you don't do the running or the cards, you greet people,
You
like
don't do
it's
anything?
different. Yeah, it's very different.
Put in
So,
2-hour shifts.
right,
Like I just resigned from a bingo team that I've been doing for 15 years.
Yeah.
You know, because I've got other things going on, but it was like the last number of years, there was no work involved at
Do you know
all.
Bonnie Mercy?
Yes,
That's who helped us.
okay.
She's amazing.
Yeah, because we used to have to go for a 10 o'clock bingo. I'd be there at 7 and I'd be out at 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
Right?
And we just know like
So now you're
how
a 2-hour
tricky it is
shift.
to
and
get somebody to do a
Okay.
2-hour meet
I
raffle.
I was just curious, right?
Yeah. We are definitely hugely thankful for that.
Yes, yeah, that's,
It's big for us. If we lost bingos, we would be having to.
how
raise
big,
our
are-
fees.
like, what's your percentage of revenue that you guys get? Like,
Like,
yeah,
you
like,
can
for your-
compared to
from-
the honorarium,
no, compared to your program, like, how much of
Oh,
that?
Like peanuts.
it
really.
is peanuts when you're talking like our programming, you know, on an average
Last-
year is $150,000. Like ice fees are 70,000. Bingos, we might make 15,000 in a year, maybe 12.
Okay, yeah, because
depending. Like
we're
it's-
down, yeah?
yeah,
You're about
it's-
1,000 a month or so?
Yeah, not even right now.
Like
Just
Last
depends.
year, we were just under 6,000, but I know that a lot.
COVID,
Yeah, okay.
we didn't have any for a while, right? So
Okay, yeah.
bingo's getting back up, like in January, we got 2 because somebody didn't want theirs, so we
Yeah.
snatched it up.
Yeah.
But
Okay, I'm just,
it's not, I mean, it's a lot to us, but it's probably not, like, it's only a small part of our budget, like maybe
okay.
less than 10%.
As far as soccer, you have sponsors, hockey, you don't have sponsors.
Right.
Is that correct?
Soccer is $250, and so all they do is the name is on the shirt, right? And so that helps offset some of the cost of the shirts and some of the programming, some of the year-end treats and excitement. Hockey, we don't do sponsors, no. We talked about it with the New Jerseys. We talked about like asking local businesses if they wanted to sponsor the jersey kind of thing, and it would
Yes.
stay with the organization.
Yes,
And we certainly talked about it. We decided it was too much to tackle all at once, like ordering those jerseys was, believe it or not, probably 60% of the anguish with rebranding was the jersey, like just the, style, the color, the fit, and, how many we needed, the numbers, like, there's just a lot to it. And then I just kind of got to the point where we're like, okay, maybe the next replacement, we can look at that. We're just done. So, yeah.
And we were on a
took
timeline.
A tight timeline because they had to be ready for September, right?
so the jerseys
Stay with the
stay with the
organization.
organization,
With the
Yeah, just-
exception,
because some don't, right?
yes, well, and we talked about that too. We looked at all options. We talked about charging more at registration and letting people keep their jerseys. But we know that there's some families with 3 kids in the program, and that's a huge, that's for $300 more a year, or more than that. It's just a lot. So we just decided, let's stick with what works, and we can revisit it at some point later down the road, because we've had people say they'd like to keep them, but they usually last at least 3 years, sometimes more. The younger kids, they'll last longer. The U18s and the U15s, they get a little, tattered, but I feel like for the amount that we pay for the jerseys, they're great quality, but we will have to replace them. And what we've done in the past, we do 2 age groups a year. So we would do, we start with the older kids because they're in the worst shape. So we do 2 divisions 1 year. The next year we'll do 2 more. And that's usually our meat raffle money that we earmark for that.
Yeah, I've been there.
I know, it's just a lot of
That's
moving
like-
parts.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. So we're basically the sole sponsor, like.
Yes,
you know,
the villages are really our only financial partner. We've had some, there's been some generous donations. When Tuffy Dunn passed away, he got a little bit of money for any player who needed something or didn't have equipment, and they had a Tuffy Dunn Memorial Award that we presented to the banquet. So that was really amazing to feel. Like we were really touched by that. That was pretty incredible. And we still do the Bob Monversary. It's $1,000 every year for kids who are heading off to post-secondary education. I don't know, the bursary existed long before I started on the board, and we've carried it on. I think it used to be $750. We upped it to $1,000 because it's changed. But we even if we had to fundraise, we love that idea, and we love the idea of honoring people like Bob Mon.
You talked about your budget for this year.
Mhm.
You have a document or whatever that you could give us so we can, rather than us just trying to remember stuff, right?
Is that,
Well,
that's
the
our
balance-
balance sheet, but the budget's
This
the one
is-
you just said.
Well,
just
that's
so
the
that
bingo
we-
budget.
You
This is
it'll
roughly-
help
this
us
is
when
a
we make
year's
the decision,
cost.
right? Because I know you guys, 25, 20, it helps us.
Yeah, so generally speaking, this is a year at a glance, basically what we took in registration, what we made in bingos that year, meat raffles, pizza kits, and the village donation, and then what we spent. This is not an exhaustive list of what we spent. These are our major costs.
Okay, perfect, thank you. That's perfect, because it helps us understand, what the flow through your organization is, because I know I've been involved. in it.
Well,
It
I
can
can
be
tell you
fairly
very-
costly.
Very simply, we don't take in enough in registration fees to sustain what we do, right? So we know we have to make up the difference, and soccer helps with that because it's a very economical program to run, so it helps offset some of that.
Yeah.
And then our fundraising is a big part of it, and also village donation. Having said that, we would be sustainable, we would have to raise our registration fee significantly. We've done a cost analysis across our whole league. We're definitely on the lower end of the cost, but not the cheapest. But we want to stay where we are. Like, we really feel like it's important that it's affordable. We don't want to get to the point where people are having to go to Sarnia House League because they can't afford to play for hockey. That's important to us. So we lost gate fees this year, which we weren't terribly sad about because it's really a big job as well to manage it. Peanuts
Volunteer.
again, and it's peanuts, and it's, you're having to have coin all the time, but it did have a little bit of financial impact. So other centers were devastated because they had 3 and 4 teams in each age group. So they were paying their whole referee bills with it, right? Like, we weren't in that position. We have 1 team in every, and
Right.
people show up late and make $20 or whatever, but we planned for that, and that hasn't been a pinch at all, which has been helpful. But overall, I feel like we run in a way that every year we have very similar costs. The only unexpected and unusual cost was our rebranding. But we are fiscally responsible, but I think we prioritize some of the extras are actual values that we could probably cut out things like, different things at the year in banquet, but we don't really want to unless we have to. So if we get to that point, then we have to look at hard decisions, but we're not there yet. So we're doing our best, and I think, I don't know, I feel like we climbed a big hill with the rebrand, and we're catching our breath, and we're thrilled. So,
You should be.
yeah,
You guys did a great job, and we have great programs
and just
going forward.
on a quick note, I was curious about other centers' ice fees because when that's our biggest cost in our program, right? And so the village donation, some centers do, like, instead of the donation, they'll give the ice fee at $123 an hour, which I don't know how, like, their arena must struggle to, because that's their whole minor hockey program getting that. So these are the ones that returned my call when I got Ramsden Shores to it, but I'll email it to you, Jim. But it was just interesting to me because we are at the high end, which I was surprised about. Like, I figured we'd be in the middle or whatever, but Sarnia is the only one that was more than us, and it was considerably more. So I feel like,
Like ice rates,
yes,
Yeah.
because they get a 25% discount.
who does?
That's amazing.
Yeah, but their prime rental
Prime, okay,
is
that's still with the discount.
yeah, I think so. But anyway, I just found it interesting in terms of bang for your buck. Like, if you can keep it for the donation, we love the donation piece.
Yep.
I think we prefer that to the idea of a discount. I'm just saying some places do that instead of, and I just found it an interesting process. It hadn't occurred to me to ask other people, and I was very interested in all the results. If I get any more, I'll keep them for you and send them along.
Thanks for doing the legwork for us. Appreciate that. Anything else? Anything else new, Liz?
No, anything?
Stuff?
We couldn't do what we do without the village support, and not even just the financial support. That's the one aspect. It's the support in the community. It's, showing up at the arena. It's having conversations with families that are involved. So we really appreciate your support, and we wouldn't be half as fantastic if we didn't have that. So we appreciate it.
I appreciate it. And
I
I
appreciate it.
we've always been thoughtful around registration fees because everyone knows that all families can't afford it.
Oh,
Right? I mean, in years ago, the optimists used to step up and put money in to pay for some kids that didn't have it. So,
we would never see a kid go with that.
no,
For no way.
no.
we-
So
We
you know,
made,
that's always been the approach.
and it should be. That's
Yeah.
what minor sports should be
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks.
think that's, we don't have any more new business or anything. So the next meeting date will be tomorrow, February 14th at 2023, up 2:30 in the afternoon on Valentine's Day. And move to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.